Okay, yeah. So now the session is being recorded as well. So, okay, so after the physical drone building session, we'll have another competition which will be like a more of a group thing. So you'll have to make a drone using the materials which we provide, and you'll have to like implement what all you have learned in the session one to it. So yeah, this will also be uploaded on the YouTube channel as well. So you can all like have a watch. The next thing which is on the line is the inter-IT thing. And I think we have talked about all this in the fun day session of the club, so I don't think we need to visit it again. And next is the fixed wing mini project and workshop, and other things are like more project related, so you can just read through them. It's not a big deal. And yeah, Ayush, so I think you can move on to the summer school, the second page.
Yeah, sure, sure. So
Okay, yeah,
yeah,
one more.
just
Sorry,
yeah, go
sorry.
on, go on. No, no, go
One
on, go
more
on. Sorry.
thing. One more thing, like even like if any of you have to say something in between or want to like use the chat, I hope everyone can see the chat and use the chat. Uh, Even like this is our first time using MS Teams, so there might be some issues, but yeah, you can always like unmute in between and speak. Just make sure not to interrupt between a very crucial thing, but yeah, you can always unmute and ask your doubts, and even you can ask your doubts on WhatsApp also. The group is made for that purpose only, and those who have not been added on the teams, they can like use WhatsApp, and those who are on the teams, they can of course use Teams itself for asking the doubts, or you need any resources or you can always ask for it. So coming to summer school timeline, so we have a total of 8 sessions planned for you guys, spanning almost entire June. And today we'll be like going through what all we'll be covering, and if time permits, we'll also be going to the introduction part of like what is Linux and all. Uh, next thing what we'll be doing is we'll give you a script to install all the softwares required in your systems, and also like we'll be using Ubuntu operating system during this summer school. So I think many of you are already like accustomed to it, but those who are not, will be sharing how to like dual boot and virtual machine as well, so you don't need to worry about it. Also, like after that, we'll be using a framework called ROS. So what ROS is, it is called robot operating system, but it is not really an operating system. It's just a framework of a few softwares together so that like you can work on robotics and stuff. So, and after that, like we'll be exploring ROS in a bit more detail, like how it works and like what aspects are there in ROS, and how does ROS like work in communicating with the robots that we make and etc.
Also, one more thing, just I wanted to add.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Uh, so, like a lot of these things might be seeming very new to some of you. Like I'm sure some of you might have some experience with it before, but for some people it will be completely new. Please don't worry. You like all you require is Enthu to learn in this session. We'll be starting up from the ground up, so you don't need to worry about like not being familiar with something from before. So yeah, continue.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and to add to that, it will be a little difficult to relate what we are doing, especially in the first few sessions, to how this will be helpful later on. But just hang on in the first few sessions. It will become relevant later.
Yeah, by the way, that is Akshat, the other head at Aero.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Akshat. I'm the fellow head at Aeroplane.
Also, as you can see, like we're trying to cover a decent amount of stuff in 8 sessions. So the learning curve is bound to be a bit steep. However, like we'll be sharing the recordings of the sessions and any supporting documents if required, like for each session, so that you can keep up. And any doubt you have, you can ask during the sessions or even after, like on the group, or even like if you have any personal like doubts specifically, you can ask us. So that's not a problem. Yeah, Pranit, continue.
Ayush, I think your screen share stopped.
My screen share stopped.
Yep.
Uh, wait. Okay, okay, 1 second. Wait, I think you removed screen sharing permission for me for some reason.
Oh, wait, I'll just.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you try right now?
One second. No, it's still the same. Like it's saying only meeting organizers and presenters can share. So
Hmm. Okay.
I think Pranit, you need to make Ayush a presenter.
Right. Yup. So yeah, I think now it should work.
yes, okay. One second. Yeah, is it visible now?
Yeah, 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 go on.
Okay.
Sorry for the inconvenience.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah. Continue.
So all these things you can see nodes, topics, and messages. These are like the elements which ROS uses to work, to function, would be a better word. Then on the 12th, we will have a basic programming session. Like by now, I think like most of you would be familiar with programming, and for the freshers who are sophomores now. So they would like completed the course CS 1100, and for the like online degree guys, you have a separate degree in data science. And those who have like joined afterwards, I'm sure you also would be accustomed to some kind of programming. But yeah, like we'll be covering the basics of what all things you would need to like use to like make programs in ROS and to run the robots. So that will be on 12th. So on 14th, we'll have like some different stuff for you. So we'll be showing you the parts and the working of how a drone and a plane works, and what all electronics, what all hardware do you need to run it. And yeah, that will be it.
Yeah,
Also, we'll be, yeah.
all the important components of the drone, like how they're assembled and everything, we'll be explaining that.
Okay, so now by 14th, you all should be like having your systems ready. I mean, you should be having them ready by before, but 14th is like the last date where you'll be having all your systems ready and functioning. So on 16th, we'll be diving deep into ROS, and we'll be going over the concept of what is a publisher and subscriber. You don't need to know the technicalities now, but yeah, like it is the starting of ROS where you use your own written scripts to run robots and drones. So you'll be implementing stuff by 16th. So that is why you should have your systems ready. 19th will be also, yeah, like every week we'll have a small assignment. Yeah, it is small, believe me. And so like it won't be a lot of workload to you guys, but this is just to ensure that all of you are participating and like doing stuff. Also, yeah, one thing which you guys might know, that you'll get a certificate at the end of this summer school. So, to first thing, the certificates depend on your attendance. This was decided by CFI and not us. So, yeah, and also have to do the weekly assignments in order to get the certificate. So, yeah. Apart from that, after 16th, we go to 19th, and on 19th we'll have like uh, okay, by 16th we'll be familiar with how to move your drone in the simulation workspace. Since this summer school is online, so we can't have it physically. So you guys will be running simulations of whatever you'll do, and so by 16th you'll be able to like make your drone move in your own planned path. And yeah, okay, so from 19th we'll be going over like other basic paths. And okay, there's a thing called Mavros which we'll come to, like we'll talk about it later. And so we'll be using like different paths like square, circle, and like other random paths which you can use on 19th. Sorry. Okay. So by this time, we'll be pretty much done with the drone contents. And after that, 21 will be like a short session on gazebo modeling. So
Yeah,
how you
so
can,
let
yeah,
me
yeah,
take over for
Akshat, go
this.
on.
So for the gazebo modeling session, so basically Before that, whatever we'll do with the drone, everything will be built for us. Like we will have the drone, we will have the publishers and subscribers that can move it in certain ways. This time we'll take a certain step back and we'll try to come up with something ourselves. So it'll give you a basic intuition such that, let's say you make a 3D model somewhere and you want it to behave as a robot, you want it to interact as a robot, have an arm, something like that. So this will be a very, very basic introduction to something like that. Then after that, the final session will be flight dynamics, airfoil analysis, and weekly assignment. Yeah, that. So for airfoil analysis, we'll use a software called XFLR. So this is basically most of the fixed wing part that you will be doing. Flight dynamics, you'll know the basics of how planes fly, how they are controlled, how you can navigate them, and all of that. Yeah, Pranit, carry on.
Yeah, just a second. Okay. Yeah. And so after this, like in this event two, which we like mentioned before, we'll be implementing this on the actual physical drone, so you can control UAVs by yourself without any remote control or anything like that. So that is why this is important. Also, okay, so like anyone has anything to ask or tell regarding whatever we just discussed, you can like just unmute
Yeah,
and
maybe you even have some suggestions about for us what we should change or anything. Feel free. Speak up, well. This is supposed to be interactive.
See, I know this is very prof like what we have done, but there are certain things which we need to follow. But believe me, we are not like that at all. Please feel free to speak up, and like you can even if you feel something should be covered before, you can
yeah,
say
you
that
can
also.
always suggest changes in the timeline. We are always open to that.
Who knows? We might even accept your opinion. Like,
Yep.
Okay, so for a small, let's say, to make this a little more interactive, has any of you ever worked with anything that we mentioned here before?
damn. Okay.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, they are like answering on the chat.
oh, okay, okay.
Yep.
Okay, I see.
Cool, cool, cool.
Yep.
Okay, okay, just programming languages. So any one of you who knows about ROS or has heard about ROS, and like what have you heard about ROS? Okay, you worked with some drone building. I see. Nice. Okay, great. It is actually very good if you have a blank slate, because if you know something about ROS in a different context, it's often very difficult to restructure that into some other context. But yeah, because it is a very, very well documented, diversified software.
Also, has any one of you like learned about like not learned? I mean, heard about Linux or used it somewhere?
Oh,
I'm
great.
sure.
Aniket has
I'm,
tried to make a publisher.
Oh, damn. Okay,
uh,
that's good.
Yeah, that's nice.
I'm sure the BSc people would be familiar with the Linux shell and all. Am I right? Um.
Okay, how about I
Okay.
tell you
Right.
that almost all of you have actually not almost all of you. I think all of you have used Linux before. Your smartphone is
Yeah,
a
unless you have
version.
an iPhone, you use Linux.
Yeah. Your Android operating system is actually they call it a flavor of Linux. That I don't really like that word. It's actually a distribution of Linux, like just optimized for like inline purposes. So
All right. Okay, so moving on, Ayush, I think you can go to the second PDF.
Yeah, sure. Yes. Is it visible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, wait. Akshat, are you there from
Yeah, yeah,
Ubuntu?
I'm there with the
Okay,
Linux.
so
Okay, so
okay,
we'll just give you a small tour of Linux.
okay. So
I'll,
first thing, like before that, we'll be using Ubuntu 18.04, and I think most of you might have used it, and many of you might have used 20.04 also. So for those using 20.04, there is no harm in using 20.04. We are using 18 just because it has more documentation and more compatibility with the softwares that we'll be using. And yeah, so for those who are not used to it or don't have Linux in their systems, so we'll be sharing a few links on how to dual boot or how to install a virtual machine, and you can follow them and you have to install it. If you have a mid-spec to high-spec computer, always dual boot is recommended for you. But like if you want it for a short-term use or something, we'll recommend virtual machine.
Also,
Uh,
Apple users can only use
uh,
virtual machine. So,
yeah,
yeah.
dual boot is not available in Apple machines unless you jailbreak or stuff like that. I don't know about it, but yeah,
And
for Apple
you don't
yeah,
want
users,
to
and
you
that
take
is
can.
not
the.
recommended by the way.
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
have a MacBook, just use a VM.
Yeah. Because it's like costly and stuff. We don't want to be,
Yeah,
Hero Club
exactly.
seniors ruined our Mac. Yeah.
Yeah. So this PDF will be shared to you, and I'll update all the links which are like stated to be updated soon. So you don't need to worry about it. For the dual boot people who are using a non-Apple based system, you can always dual boot, and the graphic drivers installation technique is given here in this link. And okay, moving on to the basic Linux command.
Yeah, maybe for this I should present.
Yeah, yeah. I'll send you the PDF as well, Akshat.
Right. Until then, Ayush, maybe you could like give a
Yeah, I
small.
could. Yeah, yeah, sure. So, I'm pretty sure most of you must have heard the word Ubuntu. We were using it quite frequently. For those of you who don't know, Ubuntu is a very popular like Linux based operating system. These operating systems are called Debian, like Debian, and there's a special name given to it. You don't need to go very deep into that, but basically they all follow a common file system hierarchy. So, like in Windows, you have Windows C program files like that. Basically, in Linux systems, you have one root, and then from that root, you have like the different file systems. So, if I want to show you my file system right over here, it's visible, right, Pranit, my screen?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, so you can see like you have the home directory. That is the first directory you come to when you open your system or when you open your terminal. In that you will have something called bin, and it will show empty because like bin is only for the administrative purposes. You need like special permission to access it, but almost all of the program files are in here. So this is just a very basic intro regarding Linux. Now, as you know, Linux is very famous. Ubuntu is actually very famous for its terminal. So, this is the terminal, if you can see. Terminal is basically gaining complete command of the computer system via certain, like gaining complete control of the computer system via certain commands. And I'm sure you must have heard of the terminal in Windows as well. Like you have Windows PowerShell, for instance, if you people have used before. So with this terminal, we can perform all the actions like which we can generally do, like moving a file from one directory to another, copying a file from one place to another, or maybe like even opening a certain app, or like initializing like opening a web browser, for instance. So now most of you will ask that, I mean, that can be done simply by clicking around, right? Like we can just, if I want to open Chrome, I can just like click Chrome and then open this. The thing is, most cases, I mean, now we have like an interface with everything. Like we have like we have a user interface for which we can like open apps, we can just run programs and all. But if we have only the terminal, still those things should be possible like to do. And because of that, it's important to learn the commands and how we can perform them, because ROS and other softwares which we use will run in the background of the system. There will be not there will be, there won't be any proper user interface for that. So you'll have to learn the commands and run them from the terminal, right?
Yeah, so just to give some background on that, so basically, when we fly an autonomous drone or something, we have an onboard computer on that drone. And that computer usually runs on a Linux system, but it doesn't have a screen or an interface or anything. So then it is very useful for us to be able to just use these commands to access everything. Yeah, Ayush, can you?
Also, just out of curiosity, have you people watched any hacking movies? I mean, um, in any language, I think there are plenty. Akshat, could you see the chat and then tell me if possible?
Doesn't seem to be.
Okay, so like, for those who might have seen hacking movies, you must have seen this guy in a hoodie, typing a lot of code or something. It's nothing like that. It's basically a black screen and white text on it. Basically, the hacker gains control of the terminal of the other computer, and with the terminal, he can basically control the entire system. That's it. That's basically it. The process of gaining that terminal access is what we call hacking, like in general. Fine. So let's start with some basic Linux commands, and so they've been given in a certain order in this PDF. So I might be sticking to the order sometimes in between. Else, like we can switch around. So first of all, when you open the terminal, it will default go to home. Okay, like your home directory. So I can either click this, or if you're very keyboard enthusiast, you can do Control Alt T. This will open. Okay, don't worry about the different layout of this, but this will open another terminal. Okay. Now the first command I want to tell you is cd. cd cd means change directory. Basically, if I want to go to my desktop, or if I want to go to downloads, what I'll do, I right now I'm in home, so I'll do cd downloads, for instance. That's it. I'm in the downloads uh, folder now.
Also, Ayush,
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
like
yeah.
show the file manager as a
Okay,
like
Ayush,
analogy
just
also.
before that, maybe you could right click on the terminal and make the text bigger because some people might be on their
Ah, yeah, 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 sure.
phones or might
So,
be too small.
maybe make size
Enough,
30.
enough.
No.
Enough. Okay, sounds good as well. Select. Did it change? Didn't know. Wait,
A new terminal, new terminal.
wait. Oof, it's too
Oh
big.
dear.
Oh dear. Okay, wait. Just give me a second. 29 is too much. I'll keep it to maybe around 16 should be fine. Yes. Wait.
Yeah, just make this the window bigger. This will be.
Yeah, that's it.
You just change the font to default. No need of changing the font.
Cool. 1 second. Apologies for the
Sans
where
regular. Sans
sans regular.
regular.
Sans regular.
Yeah.
थोड़ा सा decrease size. 15 should be fine. Fine, no? Is it
Yeah.
fine? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the first command which I was telling you was cd, like change directory. So supposing I want to go to my downloads folder, I'm already in my downloads folder. Now supposing I want to go back, so what I'll do, cd and then two dots and a slash. So I come back to my home directory. Fine. I'll just repeat this for you. So supposing I want to go to desktop, for instance, cd desktop. I go to desktop, and if I want to come back, cd dot slash, I come back to my
So
home directory.
basically, this is just a very fancy way of clicking on the file you want to go and going inside that folder.
Exactly. I'm basically doing this. That's
But
it.
we won't have a screen when we do this, so we need to do it this way.
Yes. So now supposing you want to go into say a folder within desktop. So for instance, I do cd desktop, and okay, I have a folder named DSA prac. I am supposing I'm going into that. So now I'm inside a folder which is inside desktop. Now supposing I want to come back to the home directory. Can anyone tell me how will I do that? Just based on whatever you've learned so far. Anyone? Like it's better
Yeah,
when you
there's answers in the chat, Ayush.
Okay, okay. Could you tell?
I'll just tell him. Aniket says just CD. Uh,
Okay, that is a way.
Venkatrishnan also says just CD. Arjun says CD and that tilde symbol.
Okay. Yeah, almost all are pretty much the same procedures. If
Yeah.
you just CD wherever you are, like supposing you go very deep into your file system, say there are 2 3 folders inside DSA prac for instance. If you just press CD, you'll go back to the home directory. Or what you can do. So once again.
You're not in history.
Yeah. So yeah. So suppose, or maybe if I want to go back exactly the number of spaces I want, say I want to go back 2 spaces, I can do CD dot dot slash and then again dot dot slash, and I'll go back to the home directory. Was this clear, or should I
So
like
like
repeat something?
doing double dot dash is equivalent to pressing back once.
Yeah, like on
I
the
hope
file
I'm,
manager,
yeah.
you will press back once. That is equivalent to the double dot into slash.
So anyone has any doubts? Like okay, fine. I guess I can go to the
Yeah.
next.
Also, just small
Uh-huh.
thing. So some of you might miss it if you are if this is the first time. You don't have to go one folder at a time. You can
Yeah.
just type the whole path there. This slash this, and you will go deep inside. Like, it doesn't have to be one.
Yes.
Hmm.
So now what you might be wondering is that how supposing I have gone very deep into my file system, and for some reason maybe I lost track of where I was, for instance, like very deep into the file system, or maybe I want to use a specific path because I have to save something there. So supposing I go to the same folder which I have opened before. Now supposing I forgot the path of this, like where in which folder it was. Was it in desktop? Was it in downloads or something? So we have this command called pwd. PWD stands for present working directory, and CD stands for change directory. I think I told you that before. PWD stands for present working directory. When I put this, you can see it shows me where that folder is located. Home, Ayush, desktop, DSA prac. This is this seems like a very preliminary command. Like you'll be like, I'll probably remember where I am. But trust me, this becomes really useful later on. You'll get to know that soon. So this is one very important command which I feel like. And now suppose um, if I go to home, for instance, and supposing I go to desktop here and just typing it out for you. Now supposing I want to see all the files which I have in my say this folder. One second, sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, supposing I want to see the list of all the files which are there in the folder. So there is this command called ls. Okay, so supposing I want to see the folders on my desktop. So when I type ls, it'll show me all the files which are like all the folders which are there on my desktop. So take a quick look at this, and then I can show you on my desktop also. Like, see, almost everything which everything which is written here is
Okay. Yeah. Ayush, you can ask me to take over at any time.
sure. Just give me a few more minutes. I'll just cover
Yeah,
some more
carry on.
basic. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay. So till now, the commands which we have learned are cd, pwd, and ls. cd is for changing directory, pwd is for present working directory, and ls is for list, like list all the files, basically.
Also, well, like one more thing, if you guys are like worrying how will we remember all this, don't worry about it. We'll provide you like enough documentation to read about it and like learn about it, so you can practice it yourself after your system as well.
Yes. So another command which I find quite useful is this command called uname. So I'll go to my home for now. So uname basically tells you everything about your system. So supposing you're working on a random system and you want to know its processor, for instance, or you want to know the name of the owner, for instance, or maybe the name of the Linux distribution. So this command is called uname, and there are certain arguments to a command. So yeah, every command can have certain arguments to it, and depending on the argument, it will output a specific like parameter. So supposing I do uname r, it tells me the distribution of my Linux. So it's a generic like 13.2. Don't worry about the code. So 5.13.2 like hyphen 52 generic. That is one version of my Ubuntu. So now supposing you want to know all the parameters which can be appended basically to this uname command. So what I can do, for any command actually you can do this. You can just do hyphen hyphen help. It'll tell you everything. So
Yeah,
yeah,
this is actually very useful in every command. You can also do a slash h, that a dash
yeah,
h
slash
that
h.
usually also help.
Yes. So now you can see if I put hyphen s, I'll get the kernel name. Kernel is basically like which on terminal. If I do n, I'll get node name. If I do m, like I'll do machine name. I can even verify it for you if you want. So if I do uname p, yes, my processor is x86-64. So you can see it's outputted on the terminal. So this is another very useful command, like which um, later on you will find. So yeah, I guess that's it from my side. Akshat, I think you can take over now regarding the other comments.
Yeah, sure.
Stop presenting.
Okay, I'll just take. Right, can you guys see my screen?
Yes, yes, it's visible.
Okay. Uh, so I'll just go on. So this is supposed to be apt get by the. So the first thing you're going to want to do whenever you install your Linux system is to update it, because all the packages that will be with it will be built for the latest distribution automatically. So basically there are three commands you'll have to use to update. So there is sudo apt get update. So, by the way, sudo is just an admin control. So, like in Windows, whenever you try to do something, there comes a pop-up that says so and so, and then you click allow on it. So that is basically the equivalent of that is sudo in Linux. So, okay, I have used sudo on this command, this terminal before, so I'll just show you here. So, uh, let's just go with sudo update. So it will ask me my password whenever I enter a sudo command. And when I do this, it will start updating all the packages in my system. So, Pranit, you want to tell people about apt-get?
Yeah, yeah, sure. So, like, whatever, so mostly like apt-get will be used to like update, upgrade, and maybe install some packages. So apt-get, basically, like you can just, it just gives you like access to update the commands. Like as Akshay said, sudo apt-get update. So it'll like update all the packages that are there, and it will also like suggest some upgrades if you do sudo apt upgrade. So yeah.
Yeah, so I'll just show you a place where I use. Yeah, so I use apt here. So this is basically Simage. This is not related. So you can just pass that sudo apt command, and you can install a package like this. So it will download that package and it will install it in your system.
Also, like you can not only like add and upgrade packages, you can also remove some packages, and like it's mentioned in the PDF that we'll give, so you can like go through it later on.
Yeah.
Moving on. Yeah.
Yeah, so these are basically the installation commands. Just tell me if I miss anything. So yeah, I just installed Cimage, so I'll now remove that. So sudo apt-get remove, and so as you can see it tells me that so much disk space will be freed when I remove this. So if I do this, it removes that. So this is how you, and why would you remove a package? Either storage or like you messed up with the source code and you want to install it again. Yeah. Uh, okay, moving on.
Also,
So
one more tip, like if you want to if you have typed a long command before and you don't want to type it again, you can just press your up arrow
yeah,
key and then
arrow keys up will give you your system. Will give you your history.
here, see uname, then
Yeah,
uh, yeah, yeah, continue.
yeah. So moving on. Yeah, this was apt-get remove that I just used. There is also apt-get purge. So what this will do is that in the remove thing, it will still remain in your cache. For example, if you download a Python library and you do remove, then the WHL file of that library will still remain in your system. But if you do purge, it will get rid of everything basically. So place where these remove and purge commands will be useful, and you will see this soon, is when you mess up some installation. So what happens is a library gets messed up, or you mess up with the source code, and now something's not working. And you'll come across this a lot if you dive even a little deeper into this. So that is when these are lifesavers. Yeah,
In
and yeah, go
sorry. In technical terms, they say that a package is broken in this case. So, like some dependencies failed to install or something happened during the installation process. In that case, the only way to sort it is remove it completely and then reinstall it again, or fix the source code yourself, which we highly recommend not to
yeah.
do. Yeah.
So what happens is sometimes you need this command. So what happens is you download something and you download a lot of dependencies for that thing, and then you remove that thing, but those dependencies are still there. So auto remove will take care of that for you. So I'll just enter this command and show you once. So there was nothing uh, that there was to remove in my system which was unnecessary. But if there is something, then this command will read all your package lists and remove anything unnecessary. Yeah, unwanted software dependencies. Okay, ls I think Ayush already went over, right? Okay, if not, then I'll just ls on my home directory and show you. So these are all the things that I have in my home directory. So you can see all of the things that are listed. Okay, something a little more interesting. Uh, I don't think I have. Pranit, would I have a non-executable file anywhere in some system? Or
You can just make one.
okay, right.
Like just put some sudo apt-get update on it and save it.
Yeah. So basically, what will happen is that if a file is not executable, then it will be white, and if it is executable, it will be green. So this is obviously some. I am using 20.04 by the way. So in 18.04, this won't happen, but you will be able to see that this is executable and this isn't. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. So yeah, the cd commands Ayush already went over. The dot slash, the dot dot, and the previous directory. So I think PWD also Ayush covered, present working directory. Uh, were these covered, Pranay?
Yeah, the change directory and all was covered. You don't really need CP and MV in the early
Yeah.
stages, so
So this is
we can just
basically,
read
I'll,
about
I'll
it.
tell you what this is basically.
Yeah.
Okay. My my folder isn't opening. Looks like I need to purge some. files. Okay, this is just the equivalent of just control C and control V and just dragging and dropping something. RM is removed. So RMR will remove the directory and its contents, and RMDIR will just remove the empty directory. Okay, MKDIR I can show you right now. So I'll make MKDIR is basically make directory.
Akshat, actually your stream is a bit laggy, so can you just stop and reshare?
Okay, right. I think it's an issue with my system. Just a second. So this is also something you will run into. Basically, if you have a 5G Wi-Fi, it won't work on your system unless it usually won't work on your Ubuntu system. So you have to sometimes use a slower Wi-Fi for the Ubuntu part. Right. So mkdir is for make directory. So I'll make a directory called summer school. And now I'll ls. ls will show me what all is there. So I have a new directory called summer school. So a directory is basically a folder. So I can cd into this and okay, capital S. And right, I can make another directory in here or do whatever I want. So that is basically mkdir. History will basically show you all your commands earlier. So this is not a good idea for me to enter because there have been a lot of commands. But yeah, basically the last 855 commands that I use are all right here. Yeah, basically that. Uh, Moving on, df. I don't think they'll use df. So basically, it'll show you the disk space of all your file systems. So I'll just show it right
I
now.
don't think it will be needed anyways.
Yeah. So basically, this is the amount that has been used, and this is the amount that is available. Okay, I don't think this is useful either. Right. So I think we are pretty much done with the smallish tour of the Linux terminal. So one thing, if you just want to get some terminal practice and you don't, and like for now, maybe there's some installation problem or you just want to get used to it, just go on Collab Research Google and you can just log in here with your Google ID, with your Gmail or whatever. And basically, exclamation mark before any comment puts that comment in the terminal. I'll just show you that one. Okay, my dark extension is not working. Yeah, so this basically runs in Google's system, not on your system. So like if I do exclamation mark mkdir abc and I run this codelet, just give it a sec. It's connecting.
Meanwhile,
Yeah.
Akshat,
So I have made a directory called abc right here. So if you want like random terminal practice, just add an exclamation mark and keep doing it in Google Colab. Yeah, Franco.
yeah, like you can like stop sharing for a second. I shared you a executable file on WhatsApp. You can just download and show the chmod thing.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Did my stream stop? Yeah.
Yep.
Right, I'll just share again. Okay, so I just downloaded a file, this thing, file.sh, and this file would be in my downloads right now. So the first step of action is to go to my downloads, and now I'll do an ls. So as you can see, where is file? Yeah, this file is white right now. That means it is not an executable file. So now I'll enter a command chmod. So chmod is basically changes the executability of your file.
More like it changes the permissions of your file.
Yeah, exactly. So right now, if I try to run this file.sh, it won't work. Uh, Also, okay, I already had a non-executable file. So if I try to run this, let's say Python file, so I will just copy this name.
Akshat, actually your screen is lagging a lot again.
It will catch
So
up. Yeah. Yeah, now you can
yeah.
see it. So I just press enter. Okay, my laptop really slows down when it's presenting. Yeah. So it. Okay, I'll just exit this. Yeah. So it didn't run basically. So the reason for that is that these files are not executable. So for that you need to do chmod plus x, and this star will basically make all the files in this directory executable. And now if I do an ls, all these files are green. So that means they're
Yeah.
all executable files.
Also, like one more thing, if you want to make a particular file executable, you can just type the file name instead of the star.
Okay, right, yeah,
So
obviously.
yeah, it will be chmod plus x and file.sh.
Right.
Also, like .sh is a shell script file, so it is a file which consists in simple words, it consists of commands that will run in the terminal, so you don't have to like add them manually one by one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we are pretty much done, right, with the basic walkthrough. So you can just read this and you can look at these commands yourselves as well. If you don't have an installation yet and it's giving you some pain for now, you can reach us out for what that pain is and try it over here. By the way, Colab is a really useful space if you want to test out your Python programs or anything. So yeah, you can just make use of that as well. Just one second, Pranit, I'm having a call. You could take over. Maybe.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So okay, so anyone has like anything to ask regarding what we did till now? You can just unmute and ask, and there is not a problem. Or you can use the chat. But unmuting is preferred. Yeah. Okay, also like regarding the screen lag, we'll fix it by tomorrow. Akshat's system, like I
Yeah,
think
it
there is
is
some
not
issues. Yeah.
the best. Yeah. Right. So, Pranit, what else do we have?
I think about
Okay,
the
right. I'll just show one
yeah.
thing. So, just to give you a brief about ROS, I'm sorry for the bad screen share by the way, but this won't need a lot of movement, so it should be fine. So, ROS distributions always come with a name, right? This is actually something very interesting. So, the first distribution of ROS, let it scroll down. Yeah, the first distribution was called Box Turtle. So, as you can see, the first name is B, then C, then D, then E. So, like that, the first version basically came out in 2010, and now, like the two main things that we'll be using is you guys will be using Melodic. This is that one, and this is Noetic. This is basically the 20.04 version that I'm using. So they all go alphabetically. So that I think is something really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, like there is a similar trend in Android versions as well. I mean, it was, I don't know if it's followed right now, but yeah.
So if you run a turtle sim basically in these ROS distributions, this is how your turtle will look each time. So a turtle sim is something we'll be showing you later on. So the shape of the turtle, as you can see, just keeps changing every time.
I think like we have done about like Linux thing. We should like move on to what all we'll be using.
Right.
So yeah. Okay, there is
Yeah.
a software called Gazebo. I think Akshat can elaborate more about it.
Yeah. So Gazebo is basically a simulation suite for ROS. So what ROS does is it basically nests all your different Python codes into one. So some of you work for other C5 projects or C5 teams or I know people from other colleges, something similar you work, but you would wonder why we are simulating in something that is so complicated. Why not use MATLAB maybe, or maybe something even simpler like Fusion has some sort of CFD, some very basic CFD or something like that. So the reason we do that is that Gazebo and ROS allows us a lot of interaction between the systems, between the different things that are there. So Gazebo, as I said, is the simulation suite for ROS. So Gazebo has a physics engine. So a physics engine is basically something that simulates physics very accurately. So in this physics engine, we can run ROS is basically the programs that we run. So the programs that we run are run on this simulation interface. If you get what I mean. So yeah, that is basically Gazebo. So Gazebo, it's not useful, but it runs on a physics engine called Mujoku. I think some of you might have heard of that engine. If okay, never mind. It is fairly new to. It was fairly new to me as well when I first came across it. So in Gazebo, you can basically use, you could basically create environments. So okay, I'll show you a very basic thing since we have some time right now. Just bear with me for the screen nap. So yeah, this box thing is basically Gazebo. Okay, so this is basically that simulation environment, and in this you can initiate your robot. You can make a world, like you can make grass, you can make skyscrapers, you can make a field, you can make anything, and you can test out your robots and everything in very realistic physics. So the reason that this is really good is that in a software, let's say like ANSYS or like Fusion or something, you can test one thing at a time, and you cannot test the interaction between something and the environment, and the interaction between, let's say, two robots. Here you can do anything. This is basically a world inside your system. So you can run a Python code on something, you can run anything basically. It has a lot of utility. So I'll just show you something. So right now here you can see the physics thing. So here this is our physics engine, and the value is to enable physics, and we can change basically the gravity here. So all these different small variables we can control, like gravity, magnetic field, constraints, everything we can change. Then this is the atmosphere. So here we can change the temperature, pressure, mass density, anything. And this is the wind. Basically, we can cause wind linear with different linear velocities. And so this is basically for testing whatever we have in different sort of real world conditions. Obviously, there are moments when the gazebo simulation goes insane, but yeah, it is as close to accurate as we get.
Yeah. So, like, anyone has anything to ask? Because, like, say, if you like miss on the basics, the coping up will be very hard for you. So, it's better to have a clear understanding of what is going on. You can unmute and you can use the chat. Yeah. Also, for the installation of these programs, I'll be giving you a shell script, so you can just like chmod it and just run it. So it will take like solid 1 or 2 hours, but it will install everything in your system and then you can get started. I'll be sharing this in a day or two because I'll have to make it obviously. But yeah, you'll get it done on time. That I can guarantee. By that time, you can start dual booting. I'll give you the resources by tonight, hopefully. Apart from that, Akshat, you have anything to add?
No, I think barring from questions from you, I think that is all we wanted to deliver today.
Yeah, so now we are like open to questions, so you can ask one by one. Also, Akshat, you can stop presenting by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, if there's nothing, then I think we can end this session early
Yeah,
today
we can end.
because, yeah, and then we'll have like proper 2 hour session by next time. So you can stay back if you have any queries, or I think we're pretty much done. I'll share the recording and the resources after like in some time. So I'll stop the recording and yeah.